But with organic, everything and everybody wins. Today at Stonyfield, we support 1,600 family farmers through a cooperative called the Organic Valley Cooperative. We actually bought our 1 billionth pound of organic milk this year. And here's what our milk purchases alone have done in terms of this win-win approach. This year, they've supported over 180,000 acres of chemical-free farmland. We've avoided this year, our milk purchases alone, over 9 million pounds of synthetic nitrogen fertilizer, over 425,000 drug treatments. We don't use antibiotics prophylactically, so we save antibiotics for when they're really needed, instead of creating resistance among bugs out there. We've avoided, obviously, thousands and thousands of drug treatments of synthetic growth hormone. We've avoided over 185,000 pounds of insecticides and herbicides. In terms of win-win, our farmers earn 60 to 100% more income. Their animals live longer. They literally live twice as long. Organic cows have double the lactation. So farmers are making more money. The cows are more productive over their lifetime with far less inputs. On milk, we know now that organic farms raising Holsteins require about the same amount of land to sustain a milk cow as non-organic, but significantly less prime cropland compared to high production farms, which feed large quantities of corn and soy. What that means is we can use the large amount of high-quality productive farmland to feed the world, to feed the 2 billion who are not properly being fed, to grow cereals and grains, and we can grow dairy cows and sheep and other animals on marginal land, again, where they're mostly grass-based. Grass-based means higher omega-3s. Omega-3s are necessary as an anti-inflammatory basis to help avoid disease and problems. Also, even to avoid cancers. Cancer is basically an inflammatory disease. When you have high omega-3s, you have a high anti-inflammatory component to your food. That comes from eating fresh food. That comes from animals eating grass. The milk from organic cows is much, much higher in omega-3s and much lower in omega-6s. Our organic sugar, for example, is grown on 40,000 acres in Brazil. There we've had a 90% reduction in pest damage. We've increased biodiversity, bringing back 312 species that weren't there when the land was not grown organically. We've improved groundwater quality and volume. We've improved the topsoil carbon content. It's now almost equal to the native forests that were there when the colonists came down and took the trees down. Literally, the carbon content, we've now fixed carbon from the atmosphere into the topsoil. But here's the punchline. We've had a 10% increase in yields and a 50% reduction in the cost premium of organic. Organic sugar used to cost me 100% more. Today, it actually costs less than conventional. Why? Because organic does not depend on inflating fossil fuels, does not depend on inflating chemical fertilizers, which come from natural gas. According to the United Nations, the use of organic practices can increase yields in developing countries in South America, Africa, Southeast Asia by anywhere from 86 to 113%, nearly essentially doubling yields. At the same time, they found that these same practices allow farmers to decrease pesticide use by 85% or more. An analysis of 114 projects in 24 African countries found that yields had more than doubled where organic or near-organic practices were being used. We've seen this time and again with milk studies, crop studies, corn studies. Organic yields actually over time, not necessarily in the first couple of years, but over time become equal to or better than conventional practices. Now, look, genetic engineering may someday lead to the development of crops that can help improve the sustainability of agriculture, but we have actually yet to see this. Currently available GE crops have not increased intrinsic yields, but have substantially increased pesticide use. Now, I want to bring this to a close as I end my time with you, and look at this back in the big picture. You know, I set out 28 years ago to create an organic food company that could prove that it's profitable to be that it's possible to be profitable growing organic, healthy foods. It's possible for everybody to win, the animals to win, our ecosystems to win, farmers to win, and so forth. And really, that's probably our key contribution. If there's a key contribution that Stonyfield and the other early generation organic companies have accomplished, it's this. What I now understand is that we've created a modest but provocative economic model that it doesn't have to be all about taking, stripping away future generations' rights. Indeed, we've proven that all stakeholders can win. Our farmers, our employees, our shareholders, our consumers, our retailers, our distributors, livestock, the planet, all have accrued economic and ecologic wins. And so too have our children, as we built topsoils, created a basis for farmers' kids to take over the family farm or start their own. My little 25 $26 billion industry is now 4% of total U.S. food, but rapidly heading to double digits. And so now this all comes back to you. You know, we in New Hampshire, we across our country obsess about elections. They never seem to end here in New Hampshire. We obviously get a chance to vote and exercise our free will once every 2 or 4 years. But if you stop and think about it, we exercise our votes every single day with how we shop. Now, you've just heard my rap. You know, believe me, when an item runs over a scanner in a supermarket, you're voting. And corporate America spends billions of dollars to tally those votes. So I ask you, do you want to vote for a system that increases pesticide and herbicide and toxins use, that depletes our ecosystems, that makes our country and our nation more dependent on fossil fuels? And by the way, think about this. When almost 1 in 2 of us are getting cancer, imagine the health costs. Imagine the bankrupting that this will do to the American economy. We not only are bankrupting ourselves by sending our money abroad to bring in oil and fossil fuels that we do not need as we could build healthy organic soils, but we're also, in our focus on sickness care, not on preventative health care, we are literally bankrupting ourselves. So the choice is yours. What kind of system do you want to have? We vote every day. You can vote every day. You can go out tomorrow. You don't have to change everything you buy. Buy a yogurt, buy a wine, buy a beer, buy a sandwich, buy something organic, and believe me, the corporate world will tally your vote and start to invest more in the kind of world we want. You know, Gandhi said it best. He said, anyone who thinks they're too small to make a difference has never been in bed with a mosquito. We all need to be a mosquito, buzzing away, biting away, changing the world for the better. Thanks so much for listening.